Most people suck at breaking through weight loss plateaus, but if you use this 3-step strategy I'm going to share in this video, I guarantee you won't. This is the exact strategy I've successfully used in close to 3,700 men and women to help lose anywhere from 20 to 150 pounds and keep it off. During almost every fat loss diet, there's usually a stall out point. It's just part of the process. And the leaner you get, the more likely you are to hit that frustrating plateau. The key is to figure out what to do when and diagnose correctly. But before I dive in, a quick intro. My name is Akash Vaghela. I'm the founder of RNT Fitness, a world-leading body transformation platform for men and women who want to get into the best mental and physical shape of their life. My goal with these videos is to give you actionable tools you can implement right away to look, feel, and perform better. So hit the subscribe button for more, like this video, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And now, let's dive in. The first step is to reevaluate what you're doing. This is the big one. Often what you think you're doing isn't quite what's being carried out on a daily basis. This shows in 2 examples typically. Example 1 is measurement error or avoidance. At the beginning of a diet, it's easy. You've got plenty of excess body fat, and that means you've also got a significant room for error. Eyeballing portions or guesstimating serving sizes works just fine at the start. But as your body weight begins to drop, you need to tighten things up more. The biggest culprit here are social events and eating out, and underestimating how much you're eating. You might think you're eating 1,400 calories as a weekly average, but it's really 2,000. This is the time to break out the food log or a simple tracking app. By contrast, in the opposite fashion, sometimes people will start out by weighing everything to the gram, but after a few weeks, they get lazy and just guess. I like to call this the precision dip. This is when that 200 grams of chicken breast you thought you were having is actually 250. And that teaspoon of peanut butter is more like a heaping tablespoon. These little things add up, especially when you're trying to push past the plateau. Example 2 is reduced activity levels. Addressing the small additions in food intake will solve 50% of your issues. But a lesser known piece of the puzzle is your activity level. Dieting hard brings with it some lethargy and some fatigue, especially after you've dropped over 10% of your body weight. When you're tired, it's easy to avoid tracking your heart rate or effort during your cardio sessions. You might think you're going at the same intensity, but you're actually producing less energy output, lessening your calorie deficit. This one is easier to catch, but the more subtle one is your day-to-day laziness. As life gets busy and fatigue catches up with you, it becomes more tempting to grab an Uber and take the elevator instead of walking. This is when you need to keep an eye on your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your daily general activity. One of the best ways to track NEAT is through step counts. During a fat loss diet, set step targets from anywhere between 8 and 15,000 a day, depending on your stage of the process. You can buy an inexpensive step counter or use an app on your phone. If for whatever reason you've only been averaging 8,000 steps and your goal was 10,000, that 2,000 may very well be the difference between calorie maintenance and calorie deficit. Most plateaus can be solved by tightening up your food intake and resetting your activity markers back to where they should be. Remember, small adjustments will have a big impact on fat loss. Once you reset, give the changes a week or 2 to show the results. The second step of the 3-step strategy to breaking plateaus is to use several progress tracking tools. Most dieters will only have one metric, the scale. The problem is, the scale doesn't tell the full story. And if it's your only data point, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Pictures, biofeedback, tape measurements, and body fat testing can all be useful. All come with pros and cons, but when used together, can give you a holistic picture of your progress. For example, the scale is great, but I've worked with far too many people who've experienced great body recomposition effect that the scale only budged a few kilos, while their physiques completely transformed. In short, they were gaining muscle, and the bathroom scale doesn't know the difference between fat, muscle, or water weight. If I'd only used a scale to track the progress of these clients, I'd have wrongly assumed a plateau and could have destroyed the recomp effect that was happening. By the way, this phenomenon is especially applicable to people who are coming off periods of no proper training, new to serious training and dieting, or just going through one of those awesome 3 to 4 week blasts where the body is firing on all cylinders. It won't last forever. I also see the other end of the spectrum in females who have poorly executed crash or extreme diet plans where they lose a lot of weight very quickly, assuming it's all fat. But if your diet doesn't contain enough protein and you're not training heavy, this fast weight loss could be more muscle than fat, which will probably make you look a lot worse than you did 10 pounds before. This is also why I like to encourage people to keep track of their waist measurement along with pictures, as they may be seeing big changes there with relatively little change on the scale. For an extreme example, check out Minnow, who was the exact same weight in both of these pictures. Over time, the scale weight should be coming down throughout fat loss phase. But don't be surprised if it doesn't move as quickly as you would like, despite seeing massive changes in the mirror. Instead, I like to use a combination of tools like waist circumference, the scale, and photos to provide a well-rounded feedback that allows you to make an informed decision. These measures all complement each other and will allow you to decipher between internal and external factors influencing any perceived stalls in fat loss. The third step of this strategy to break through plateaus is to dig deep and grind harder. If you've dialed in your food, your cardio, daily activity levels, and broadened the use of trackable metrics, but you still can't see any change, then it's simply a game of stepping up and picking your poison. At this stage, we've got a few choices to create a calorie deficit. The key is to not pull every tool out of the toolbox in one go. So you want to pick one between reducing calories by 5 to 10%, which is time frame dependent. Number 2, adding 2,500 steps to your daily target. Number 3, adding time or frequency to your cardio sessions. Number 4, increasing use of thermogenics like caffeine. Number 5, increasing training frequency. In 95% of the cases, it'll be one of the first 3. Digging deep and grinding harder is the least glamorous part of busting through a fat loss plateau. Most people think you need to add a refeed or cheat meal into the mix, but these are actually needed a lot less than you think. If you're not a robot bodybuilder, you don't need one. Every time I hit a genuine plateau, the one answer that always works is going harder. Crazy transformations don't happen by accident. By the way, if you want to see if you're ready to dig deep, grind hard, and achieve a life-changing transformation, I've created a free 5-minute quiz just for you. All you need to do is click the link in the description, answer a few yes or no questions, and you'll get a personalized score with actions to improve. As a bonus, you'll also get access to my best-selling book, Transform Your Body, Transform Your Life. One key takeaway to take from this video is, if you're doing everything with 100% accuracy, which means eating everything according to plan, no extras, no eyeballing, you'll be losing body fat even if the scales aren't showing immediately. In fact, there'll be weeks where you may see nothing happening on the scale for days on end, and then all of a sudden, a massive drop overnight. When I'm dieting, this is the exact same pattern of loss I experience, and I've seen it with thousands of others. But if things genuinely stall, you've got to suck it up, embrace the grind, and take yourself into a new place to create a transformational change. When I got shredded in 2022, I went as low as 1,300 calories to get the last few pounds of body fat off. And I documented this in my Road to Vegan Shredded, which you can see right here. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Going lower in calories is often frowned upon, but it works. So long as you safely reverse back out and time your aggressive periods well, they're completely fine. Breaking through plateaus typically involves 3 steps. Reevaluating what you're doing, i.e., are you eating and moving to the target set? Number 2, using several progress tracking tools. And number 3, digging deep and pushing harder, i.e., dropping calories or increasing activity. I hear it all the time. I've been stuck in a plateau for ages. My metabolism is so slow. I just don't think my body type can get lean. It's all BS. Most people are just misreporting what they're doing. Again, you might think you're eating 1,400 calories a day, but when you're out a few times a week with no plan, you're probably averaging around 2,000. It's so easy to pull yourself out of a deficit. It's why accountability, an objective expert eye, and a blueprint for continuous fat loss success work so well. It's easy to kid yourself you're on track, but in 99% of the cases, you just need to tighten the ship and make it move faster. I hope these tips help you in your transformation journey. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to like it, subscribe to the channel, and comment to which strategy you're gonna try to break through your weight loss plateaus.